Hello, good morning and welcome to this interview-based program called Parichaya that is hosted by Department of Journalism and Mass Communication of Fakir Mohan University. Friends, like always, today we also have a very special guest here with us on this in our studio, Sugata Roy, social and behavior change expert from Unicef. So how are you?
I'm doing good.
And such a pleasure to have you here on the show. So, just for your information and to reiterate this point, many students across different universities of this country, especially in universities of Odisha, they do watch this program. We have got feedback that they enjoy the conversations. They enjoy it because the conversations speak about the journey of people who come to this, studio. So from their ups and downs and trials and tribulations, there are learnings as takeaway for the students, and also they get a little direction कि उनकी जो गलतियां है वो ना करें या जो tips है जो points है वो उनको देते हैं. So you belong to what? You belong to Bhubaneswar?
Yeah, I belong to Orissa.
Okay.
I'm born and brought up in Orissa.
Achha.
And I had my initial schooling, college, everything in Cuttack.
Mm-hmm.
And after my graduation, I went and did my master's at Xavier Institute of Social Service in Ranchi.
Mm-hmm.
And thereafter, I got into the professional field. I worked in Orissa.
Mm-hmm.
And after working in Orissa for about 2.5 years, 3 years, then I moved out of Orissa in end of 98.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I've worked in Delhi, Calcutta, then in Lucknow, Ranchi.
So when did Unicef happen?
I think Unicef happened in 2006 when I got a full-time position with Unicef. So prior to 2006, I had worked with Unicef as a consultant. And before joining Unicef, I was working with a multinational advertising agency, Ogilvy and Mehta, which is now known as Ogilvy.
Yeah.
So I was working with them before joining Unicef.
Unicef, okay.
Yeah.
So as we have had so many conversations over lunch and over tea, so I personally know how enthusiastic you are when it comes to bringing about behavior change. And being myself associated with a stream that is about mass communication, we see that it's a very, very tough thing. It's easier said than done. Like changing someone's behavior, even though we know that we have to act in a certain way at certain times, when it comes to rural India, when it comes to our rural areas, there are areas that UNICEF is continually, working on, like health, then education, agriculture, also I think maternal health, child care, so routine immunization, and you have come across different problems. Do you specifically remember the most challenging project that you have taken up and you have succeeded in? Like, ऐसा कुछ याद है आपको?
Yeah. See, I mean, to start with, social and behavior change communication is indeed it's science, and it requires analysis. If you see, we started the IEC campaign, which used to be called as Information, Education and Communication, to raise awareness among the people. But what we realized that though you are raising awareness, but people are not practicing to what they are aware of. For example, I'm talking about you run a campaign, IEC campaign on anti-dowry. People are aware that, okay, we should not be taking dowry. But when it comes to practicing, they accept it because of various social norms.
एक और एग्जांपल याद आ रहा है, ओपन डेफिकेशन. इतने कैंपेन्स हो गए, पैसे भी सरकार ने दे दिए, शौचालय भी बना दिया, बट क्योंकि वो एक आदत बनी हुई है कि साथ में जाएंगे.
Those are all related to social practices.
Habit is also.
Social practices, I am saying that, which is there. So changing that social practice overnight will not happen.
Right.
So if you see the trajectory of communication India or across the world, it used to be IEC campaign. Then we moved to BCC campaign, saying that behavior change communication campaign, where behavior change is important. And it was also realized that unless and until you create an enabling environment for the people, the behavior change will not happen. So there was a behavior change campaigns initiated. Then again, what was realized that though you create an enabling environment, but the social architecture, the social norms, the various practices which are there may not change with the enabling environment. So it requires a social transformation. That's where the social and behavior change aspects comes in. So that's why I'm saying, when you were talking about changing the architecture of your behavior, it is science, where you have to be more analytical. And that's how the landscape of communication has changed over a period of time. And all of us are working on bringing these changes. As you mentioned about some popular campaigns where success has been observed. Yes, if we start with it, I can quote polio eradication campaign. There was a time when we used to have a huge number of polio cases come in the early 2000, 2002. It was an epidemic year when there was a upsurge in polio cases. Prior to that, we were thinking polio is at its lowest. And then the cases went up. And what we realized, that people are resisting to polio vaccination. There is a resistance in the community, and you cannot force people to accept things. It's a democratic society. In that, it has to be mutually agreed upon.
Taking them along, convincing them.
So polio is one of the best example I can cite. We started with social mobilization network in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, where the cases were germinating and was highest. And over a period of time, we worked with the community, and where the changes started happening. And today, India is a polio-free country. And what happened with polio is a culture of vaccination was created in the society, where today parents come forward to vaccinate their children. There was a time when India had the lowest. In Uttar Pradesh, vaccination rate was about 20-21%. Today, if you see, it is more than 70%. Take, for instance, Orissa. You'll be astonished to know Orissa is number one state in vaccination. It's above 95% vaccination. How this all thing happened? Because there was a sustained communication where people believed, and people were taken along with this journey, where they were told the benefits of vaccination, how it can change your child's health. Earlier, we had challenges from the traditional healers who didn't want children to accept the allopathy medicines. So we took everybody along with us, and every parents will always vouch for the safe health of their children. And when they are convinced, it happened. And even in open defecation also, it was very challenging. And since the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was launched by Honorable Prime Minister in 2014, we have made humongous gain in this field. And social and behavior change has played a big role. People defecating outside, coming into the toilet and defecating has been a shift. Yes, you may say that people are still defecating, but
the numbers have gone
down like anything. It has gone down like anything.
And also,
we are gaining.
Yeah, and also that ripple effect. When you don't see that, 10 people were earlier going, only 2 are going today, you also feel a little bit,
and
shy.
What we have done is, we have started working with the young people. Who will be the change maker?
Catch them young.
Yes, it will be difficult to change the behavior of a very old person who has been practicing a habit for 40 years. But when you reach out to the children at the school level, at the Anganwadi level, we are talking about wash in Anganwadi, water and sanitation hygiene at Anganwadi, where the children are encouraged to use toilet instead of going outside. So that habit will be inculcated from the childhood, and slowly 10 years down the line, you will see no one defecating outside. And that's where the behavior change process takes place.
Washing hands before food will be a habit, of course.
COVID taught everybody how important is hand hygiene. And you see the infection rate will come down. So all these things takes time. Social and behavior change is a magic bullet. to bring about changes in your health, changes in your lifestyle, changes in your education standards. Everything will change at the community level. So, but we have to be patient.
True.
It will not give us result overnight. It will give us result over a period of time.
And yes, a multi-stakeholder approach is the key, I guess, where
exactly.
the government is, of course, coming up with so many schemes and yojanas. NGOs are working, like UNICEF is also working, doing its bit. The civil society has to come forward and very enthusiastically, gradually, absorb all of those and try and emulate. Teachers have to talk about it. Universities have to, design innovative programs talking about it. And as journalism, mass communication department of this university is involved in puppetry workshops since 2 days. I mean, it started on 11th. It'll be ending in 15th. And the topic is they have identified 3, main themes as,
on child health and maternal health.
Yes, maternal health care. And they'll be putting so many little small topics and staging a puppetry show in the village. So I think, yes, directions from different directions efforts.
Yes, you are absolutely right. That multi-sectoral approach is required. That's what we were saying. You have to take everybody along with us. All these stakeholders will be involved. It's not only about the civil society organization, also government, our key partner. It is the entire program which government runs. We have to support it. We have to strengthen it. That's where everybody needs to be involved, and the changes will start coming.
True.
And the puppetry. Many were asking that in the digital world, do puppetry has a effectiveness? I say it has a effectiveness when it comes to mental health and psychosocial support that you want to met out. The puppets can make a difference because you are listening to something, but along with listening, when you see something coming live, you see something on the screen has one effect, but when something comes in front of your eyes, it has a different effect altogether. And our research has shown whenever or wherever we have done the puppet shows, it has really created a mark in the minds of the children, in the minds of the mothers.
And I want to bring in a very important point. I think when you consume a certain show or a certain information or entertainment, infotainment, whatever it is, on a community basis, इतने सारे लोग खड़े हैं साथ में मिलकर के, जब आप एक पपेट शो देखते हैं तो आपस में आप बातचीत भी कर रहे हैं, आप डिस्कस भी कर रहे हैं, आप कैरेक्टर्स के साथ आइडेंटिफाई भी कर रहे हैं. मोबाइल में तो क्या जी, आप अपना देख रहे हैं, आप बंद भी कर दिए, स्क्रॉल अप भी कर दिए.
It's a two-way communication. And what's more important is after the show is over, you have an engagement where the people are asked questions. What did you understand by that? What is your reaction? And we also believe that the feedback which people give you in the field can be taken into account, and when we go for the next show, course corrections can be done. So that's very important, where you have two-way communication out here.
So UNICEF does also, collaborate with academic institutions, and I think I suppose the main reason is that they look forward to this research and inputs. What do they look?
See,
what is the expectation?
Partnership with academic institution is imperative, because for every program there are a couple of things that we look at. One is generating evidences. Evidence-based programming has always yield better result. You just can't go and shoot arrow in dark. So you need data, you need evidence to plan your journey. And academic institutions help us in that analysis of the evidences. The data that is generated, the academic institutions help us in that area. That's one.
So we are coming up with this behavior lab here?
Yeah. In other states, we have been able to set up the behavioral insight lab just to map the behavioral architectures of our community, so that we can plan our program accordingly. And apart from the analysis part, the evidence part, the academic institutions play a big role in enhancing and polishing the knowledge management. And also helps us in reaching out to the young people. In the college, in the academic institution, you have such a big number of young people who are the stakeholders for various programs. And when you are able to mobilize these young people, they are able to create that social movement, the social mobilization in the community. For instance, when it comes to ending child marriage, we worked with various academic institutions where the young people start pledging that we will stop
Child
marriages.
yeah.
We will stop violence against women and girls. So it's the young people who are mobilized. So that social mobilization can move towards a social movement. And we have seen that effect.
Yes, and as we always say, youth, they are the backbone of this country. And at this young age, I mean, if they are, they are oriented about these kind of issues and problems that are existing in our society, definitely they are going to do better as citizens of this country.
Correct.
In the long run.
I mean, many of our experts keep on saying that they are the future of our country and all. While we at UNICEF believe adolescent and young people are not only the future, but they are also the present.
True, very true.
And when you work with your present, you determine what's going to be for your future.
Yeah.
You don't have to leave them to decide about the future. You work with them and help them to identify
take them along.
things and take them along. That's the way how we move forward. Because UNICEF is also thinking of working with Gen Z, Generation X. We are working with Generation G. We are also preparing ourselves to work with Generation Alpha, Gamma, which is going to come 50 years, 60 years down the line. We have to be prepared for that. We are moving it's a digital world. Things have changed and we have to also change and prepare ourselves accordingly. So start working with the young people because they are going to determine the future of the country.
Yes, true. And a beautiful course that has been launched yesterday. PG Diploma 1-year course in communication and behavior change, and with the intake capacity of 24. And of course, I think that this course is going to be it's going to give the scope for everything that we have talked about.
Yeah, this course is in fact going to sharpen, polish and enhance the skills of people who are either working in the field of social and behavior change communication or are aiming to work in this area. It's going to help and provide a set of trained professionals who are ready to help government, help civil society, even the CSRs. The private sectors are having so much of CSR interventions. So they get a trained professionals who can immediately hit the road.
True. So I think, Sugata sir, it has been a very interesting conversation, and keep coming to our department and university, and we'll have another conversation couple of months to come again, and we'll see that what has happened. We'll talk about that. And yes, so with this we come to end of this particular episode, and in the coming episode we'll definitely have another guest, and I'm sure I'll be able to bring to you another interesting conversation. So thank you so much for watching. Namaskar.